Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's transfer deadline day. We're talking Amrabat to Man United. It is complete. We're talking about Brennan Johnson to Spurs, complete. We're looking at Liverpool, turned down £150 million today for Mo Salah. We're going to get into that in detail. Could there be a Cancelo hijack? Bayern Munich have tried to hijack it. There's talk Arsenal might come in. We're going to go through that and much, much more. I'm joined by the Don, who Sam is here with me today. How are you, fella? You good?
I'm good. Happy to be here. Upset that the international break is soon going to be here. But other than that, I'm happy to be here. All good and alhamdulillah, can't complain. Just my club letting me down as per usual.
And obviously we'll delve into that. The biggest news so far today, though, is Man United have got the deal complete to bring in Amrabat. It's going to be a season-long loan with I think an obligation to buy next summer, but they get it over the line. We know the execution has been painful for Man United fans who wanted him in weeks ago, but how good a purchase do you think this is for Man United in terms of improving that midfield?
First of all, I'm glad you chose this topic first, so me and you can fight at the start, and then we can get this over with. I think with Amrabat, first of all, I don't know if the reports were true yesterday about that 1 million initial loan fee. I mean, 10 million makes a difference to Fiorentina, of course, because we need to understand not all clubs are like Premier League clubs with plenty of cash laying around. So that money makes a difference to Fiorentina. Look, Amrabat is a good signing. I would have taken him at Liverpool 100%. I just don't think... I think we probably got the signings mixed up in terms of who makes sense for which club more. I think Gravenberch probably makes more sense for Man United. Amrabat makes more sense for us. Maybe now you'll say depth and stuff like that, which is fair. But in terms of a starting role, I think we needed a 6 more. You guys probably needed an 8 more. Here's the thing. I think with Amrabat, it's a good signing. I don't think it moves the needle or it makes Man United that much better. I think kind of similar problems are still there, to be honest with you. So, okay, congratulations, but he did not reject Liverpool, Terry. We need to stop saying that Amrabat rejected Liverpool because we never bid. We never bid for the guy. We just were looking at him as we were looking at 15 other midfielders.
So, question for you. So
yes.
You will stop Liverpool fans pushing the notion that Gravenberch rejected us because we didn't bid.
No, but that's not the same.
So we didn't bid for Gravenberch, but he rejected us. You didn't bid for Amrabat, even though you were interested, but that's not rejection. Why is it different?
Yeah, but I don't think we ever took the Amrabat thing seriously.
But
I'm being serious. With Gravenberch, he was supported by Ornstein.
But Ornstein also said that Man United are pushing for Amrabat rather than Gravenberch. So we didn't say Gravenberch. This is my point, right? I don't care if people want to say that Gravenberch rejected us. But if that's the rejection, then you have to take the L's on the Lavia and the Caicedo thing as full-on rejections, and you have to accept Amrabat. It's the same thing. That's all I'm saying, bro. I don't care either way. Someone actually, a Liverpool fan called me out on Twitter today saying, well, why are you saying that he rejected us when you said things were different? I said, I think it's all different. But I'm happy to accept it either way. What I can't accept is people talking out of both sides of their mouths. But that aside, look, on Amrabat,
he speaks Dutch, that's why.
He speaks Dutch. Why do you not think it improves Man United that much? Delve into that for me.
The reason why I don't think it improves Man United this much is the starting midfield is probably still going to be Casemiro, Bruno, and Mount. This is the thing. So for me, I don't see a world in which Bruno goes to the bench. I don't see a world in which Mount goes to the bench, or he would have stayed at Chelsea. I don't see a world in which Casemiro goes to the bench. Now, Casemiro maybe is a little bit more likely. I see Staffy and others having meltdowns over the whole Casemiro situation. Oh, Casemiro, scrap, bench him. I think it's Casemiro's problem is not Casemiro himself. Casemiro's problem is Bruno and Mount are so, I think there's a massive distance between them. It's not a compact enough midfield. So with Amrabat, if you want to start him as the 6, it means Casemiro is going to go to the bench. If you want to start him as the 8, then your team's a lot more defensively stable. So that could be a positive. But offensively, it takes away from you, and you've got to bench Mount, which would cause drama because Mount's brother is going to start posting on Instagram. Why is Mount on the bench? And here we go again. So it's going to be a dramatic situation. I think he's good for depth for Manchester United. I don't necessarily think he starts unless there's an injury or a Casemiro red card. That's when he'll start. And if you start the midfield of Amrabat, Mount, and Bruno, then maybe from a legs perspective, it makes a bit more sense. And Amrabat, you could say, is slightly better on the ball than Casemiro is. But I still don't think you've really solved your issues fully this transfer window.
We haven't solved all of our issues. We could do with another striker. We could do with, in my opinion, a new right back. We could have done with a new centre back. So yeah, Man United haven't completed their rebuild yet. That's fair, absolutely fair. And it takes most teams 2 or 3 summers to do that when it's going to be a complete overhaul. There's only one team I've ever seen out of the top 6 clubs who have done it in the space of 2 summers, and that's Chelsea. But people will still say they've got holes, and they've bought literally, I don't even know, what, 25 players maybe they've purchased in the last year.
1 billion. Mad.
Yeah, and so we're always still going to have holes in this team. But in terms of our midfield, I think Amrabat does move that needle. The notion that and I've seen what you've said, I've seen from a lot of people. Yeah, but he don't start, does he? How does anybody know? We've had this conversation before. Your best Liverpool team in the Klopp era, we could all name the 11. But they went for an 18-month period where they only started 4 or 5 games together. There is going to be rotation. There is going to be... Listen, as long as we don't go out early in the League Cup, we are going to be playing 2 games from the international break onwards. It's going to be 2 games per week. I want Man United to try and win every single competition they're in. And he's got the opportunity to make himself a first-team player. So, yes, you could be right. From day one, he may be looked at as a first-team member, an important member, but back up to the current starting midfielders. But that doesn't mean that he can't perform and work his way into the team. One thing that...
But if everyone's fit, who's the starting 3 then?
So this is the point I'm making. Yeah, right now, I'm happy to concede you're right. I think if everybody's fit, he probably starts on the bench. However... that doesn't mean that he can't work himself into the first team. That doesn't mean that he can't perform to a particular level. We saw it with AWB. He was out in the cold. And then he comes back in from January last year. And look, I still think we need better than him long term, but he came in, performed well, and managed to stake a claim in terms of his position. If Amrabat comes on in League Cup games, comes on as a substitute, comes in when there's an injury and plays well, he can work himself into this first team and become a starter. I don't believe this narrative that because we've just bought Mount, whether he plays good, bad, or indifferent, he won't be dropped. If he keeps dropping stinkers, the manager will put him on the bench. He isn't going to, in my opinion, be arrogant enough to go, I'm going to keep playing a player who is failing. Otherwise, last season, he'd have carried on playing Sancho. He'd have carried on playing Donny van der Beek. He'd persist with Martial. Everyone who's underperformed has been dropped. At times, not always. Sometimes you get another opportunity or 2 on the bounce, which I think is fair. But generally speaking, I just don't see the manager saying, yeah, because I bought Mount, he has to start over Amrabat at all costs because he was more expensive. I just don't think it will work that way personally.
But you believe in football politics. You know that he can't just send Mount to the bench.
I think it exists, but it isn't something I think Man United fans should stress themselves about. Someone here says Anthony. Well, yeah, but Anthony has been dropped before. Let's not get it twisted. There are multiple games where Anthony has started on the bench. However, the problem you have with the Anthony situation is, especially from rivals, is it's ironic, really, because whenever you praise somebody's stats, people say football isn't just about statistics. And then you speak about someone like Anthony, who in terms of everything he does, barring the most important thing, and I criticize him for not scoring and assisting as much, he needs to do that more. There are other elements of his game that he does better than Jadon Sancho that plays in his position in terms of keeping shape, tracking back, helping us defensively. It's why we had the most clean sheets last year, and he was important. Now, that doesn't mean, by the way...
Where are your standards, Terry? There's no way you're doing Anthony prop.
No. It's not about Anthony prop. It's about... So people are, why did Anthony get dropped? Because the alternative coming in instead of him is in Jadon Sancho, scores and assists less than him, and isn't as good off the ball. So I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but you have to look at the circumstances. You're taking out someone that's playing trash and putting out somebody in who's also trash, but does less defensive work. At the very least, you want to keep your shape and be defensively as solid as possible, right? So if there was someone on the bench that would do the shape, be defensive, and score and assist more, then I'd be screaming for him to be dropped. But it's about the alternatives. It's about the
I
alternatives.
agree with you there. I don't think there's options off the bench to bring on for Anthony. But Anthony is like not performing, and Anthony is not playing to the level. Neither is Sancho. So I don't think. But I understand also maybe from certain fans' perspective, they're like, you know what? Since Anthony stank up the pitch first 3 games, let's give it Sancho for a game, see what happens. But
No,
I agree with you.
and
It's they're both not
yeah.
good. I
But
agree completely. There's
the
no
point,
need to disagree with
the
that.
point I'm making is the reason Anthony doesn't get dropped as regularly as I would like him to is because Sancho's worse than him, performs worse than him more consistently.
You don't have
especially
options, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But in the middle,
I agree.
I think if Mount's playing badly, if Casemiro's playing badly, he will give Amrabat a go because I think Amrabat is a top player. He's pressure resistant. He barely loses the ball. Got good duel rate, succession. Excellent at reading the game, winning the ball back. He's got a decent turn of pace. He's actually quite agile as well. When you watch for someone who's 6'1", he's very agile as well. Very, very good on the turn. And fans are going to see that a lot from him. He's the kind of player that can receive the ball with his back facing his own goal as an example. He can be pressed and he can just drop off the shoulder and turn and sprint with the ball. And we need someone that can progress it like that from a central midfield area. Eriksen's got the ability to do the turn, but doesn't have the power or athleticism to get away from people and we get caught. The same as Mount when he's in those deeper positions. So Amrabat's going to be a game changer for us. And I do believe he can work himself into that first team over the course of this season on a more regular basis. I'm really happy with all our business, barring Mount. Massive question marks on him. We've signed an excellent goalkeeper. We've signed a brilliant young attacker in Rasmus Højlund, who I think has got levels in his game.
Also question marks.
Well, there's no question marks. He's just young. It's like whether you, again, if he'd have scored an extra 5, 6, 7 goals, there'd still be question marks. But I have faith in him. Having researched him, watched him, read about him, I think Rasmus Højlund's got star quality in him. The same as you signed Gakpo and you signed Darwin Núñez, very young, lots of money. And yes, but neither of them were amazing last season, but we know there's great potential in there. And we saw that from Darwin at the weekend. I think Rasmus Højlund's got the ability to be a star. The only signing that we have who I'm genuinely concerned about has been Mason Mount. Now, would I have liked more signings this summer? Yes, but we've seen it's not on the manager, in my personal opinion, all of it. You could argue we shouldn't have bought Mount and we could have bought somebody else with that money. So that's a fair criticism. But the fact that we have barely allowed there to be money released to get Amrabat tells you like we're being hamstrung. The manager's got a budget and it's limited. And the fact he needed a new goalkeeper and he needed a new striker has kind of limited that. So yeah, I'm happy with Man United's business as much as I can be, if that makes sense. And I would have liked.
Here's the thing. I don't even disagree with anything you've said about Amrabat from a skills perspective. I just disagree with your conclusion. I have a different conclusion I'm getting to. I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you, I just don't think Ten Hag has the cojones to drop one of them. What I think is going to happen, this genuine prediction. No, I'm being genuine. And this is something that now when I say it, you would actually go like, you know what, this like Hussam is actually a genius. I think he's going to drop Anthony because the right-wing options are both mid, as you said. So there's no need to argue Anthony versus Sancho. I think he'll play Bruno on the right. He'll play Mount, Amrabat, and Casemiro as the midfield. I genuinely see a world in which that happens, or just put Mount on the right instead of Bruno. That's another way I see it. So I think that could be a thing that they do going forward. And the conclusion that you've arrived to, I don't think. Look, you're talking about it in terms of depth, which I agree with. Once again, I agreed with you completely. When's Mount back, by the way? He's injured, right?
5-6 weeks. So again, this is what I was about to say to you. So for the next, we're not even going to get an answer to your point for at least 2 months because he's going to take him about 6 weeks. Then he's got to get match fit Mason Mount. So there's going to be a period of 2. We're not even going to start getting answers to this now until like end of October, November time. Yeah. But when I listen, it's easier to do this with you than it is Lee Gunner because you actually understand. I'm not trying to catch you out. I'm actually trying to be fair. When you say dropped, define that for me, because what I wouldn't do is go
Anthony,
right.
You mean?
No. So when you say he won't drop any of the midfield 3, as in Mount and Casemiro, Bruno. By the way, he's not going to drop Bruno for Amrabat because he plays a different role. But so Mount or Casemiro. Say we play a Premier League game. Say like 3 games on the bounce, Mount and Casemiro started together, and on the 4th game, Premier League game, Mount's on the bench and Amrabat starts for a game. I wouldn't consider that dropping someone. I would
that's
consider
not
that
dropped for a
rotation.
game. No, for a game, it's
Yes,
not
but
dropped.
what do you consider dropping to be? Just so that when I hold you to account for being wrong, I want it to be fair.
No, dropped is like consistently being out the team. If I want to use my club as an example, I think last season Nunes was dropped because he was significantly out the team, significantly on the bench. Like, let's use the first three games as an example. Nunes was dropped in the first 3 games, and he came on as a sub first 3 games. So you wouldn't consider him as a starter or someone who starts for Liverpool Football Club. So if you're telling me, like, what would I consider dropped, I'd say at least 3-4 games in a row. I'm not talking about a 1 game sample size here.
No,
and I think from depth perspective, he's great.
By the way,
I think he's going to play all 4.
I've got to interject. There's massive breaking news that's interesting when it comes to Chelsea fans. Burnley have just agreed a £31 million deal to sign Maatsen. The player that they've been saying is going to be a star. He says there's still no green light from the player's side, but Chelsea have agreed to sell him for £31 million. Wow. The reason I say that's crazy is because every Chelsea fan who's been on the show, most in the comments for the last couple of weeks, have quite literally sat there and said, Maatsen is a future star at the club. They are letting him go. Look, whether he might reject it, the player, but the club are willing to sell him. That tells you everything you need to know about the faith they have in this player. Or am I wrong?
And who's the other left back they got as well that they done our head in with that went to Newcastle? I forgot his name.
Lewis Hall.
Lewis Hall, I swear. These guys kept talking about Maatsen and Hall, and they're both gone. Hey, Chelsea fans. Hey. When we talk about the direction of your club, you guys get upset. So I know you guys are sensitive and stuff, but respectfully, that's a you problem. I've got people now playing my clips from the terrace on other channels and crying about it and moaning about it and calling me all names under the sun. Hold that. There is with the direction of Chelsea. If he is offered to Burnley, then all this like Maatsen prop and stuff. If it's on loan, fair enough. Fair enough if it's on loan. But apparently he's on a 1-year contract. He doesn't want to sign. Look, if with all due respect, if he was that good, it wouldn't be Burnley that would him. Same way with Palmer. He's so good. That's Chelsea wanted him, not some random club.
It's an interesting one. You know, I was kind of saying this to a few people the other day that there'll be certain when they signed Cole Palmer, there was this, oh yeah, but they've already got Madueke and I said, look, there'll be some of those young players you signed only a year ago.
Madueke.
That Poch has already turned around and probably said they're not good enough. You've signed someone, but they're not good enough, and they'll be moved on. They'll go out on loan or whatever else it is. But that is crazy news. Only crazy from, as I say, from the perspective that the way Chelsea fans typically know more about their club than we do. They're telling me this kid is like one of the future players of their club. The fact they're willing to, it isn't even the player forcing the move. It's the club saying, we're happy for you to go. Interesting piece of business indeed. Chelsea fans, let us know what you think and let us know what you feel in the comment section below. Just let everyone know as well, we've got the top 6 show live from 6 p.m. tonight until deadline day closes. We've got some big people on there. Hannah's coming on, who's a United fan. Staffy will be on there. We have Igao on the show. Lee Gunner is on the show with us as well. We've got George. We're going to have Nobbins is on the show as well. Of course, I am going to be there and others will be rotating in. But Igao and Lee Gunner on the same show. So make sure you're tuning in at 6 p.m. tonight. It's going to be absolutely epic. So make sure you do not miss out on the feature-length episode of the Top 6 show. But yeah, to go back to the Man United news, just because the situation, just because it's what we were talking about, I kind of feel, you know, I get where you're coming from, and maybe he won't. Maybe he will persist for a period of time with those players. But the injury to Mount changes that now because Amrabat's going to play. Now, I don't think he can play on Sunday because we haven't registered him. Generally, you've got to be registered by 12 noon on the Friday to play that weekend, typically. Maybe with deadline day, it's a little different. So he won't. I'm gutted he's not with you.
No, you've got to register him Saturday. Saturday is what I heard because it's the same thing with us and Gravenberg. 12 p.m. Saturday, noon tomorrow.
Right. So, yeah, listen, we'll have him. Okay, cool. Then we'll have him. Sweet. Because, again, I want him in that game. I want him in that starting lineup. As long as he's fit, I want him in that starting lineup.
You'd start him straight away at the Emirates?
Straight away. Listen, Amrabat, I'm telling people now, no word of a lie, Amrabat is genuinely a top football player. As long as he's match fit, we know he hasn't played in the last couple of weeks, but he has been training. As long as he is fit, you start him. You start him in that game next to Casemiro, and it transforms our midfield. Our midfield is then different. Arsenal are the clear favourites in this game. No shadow of a doubt. No cap. They are. Their home record is very good against Man United for years now. We struggle away from home against top 6 teams. Amrabat is a game changer for us. Plus you have Rasmus Højlund, who's now ready to start according to the manager as well. Fit and ready to start. There's all this weird talk of we bought him with an injury problem. It was a very minute issue. He's been training on grass for 2 weeks. He's match fit. He's ready to go as well. Starting them two in this game doesn't make us favourites, doesn't guarantee us to win, but it gives us a significantly higher chance of getting a result against Arsenal because the midfield is shored up and we suddenly have someone up top who is electric in speed, 6'3", powerful, strong, technical, and can hold the ball up. We haven't had that from a striker for so long. Now he's raw and there'll be mistakes and he's got to develop, but just to have someone of his profile in the team and Amrabat behind him, I beg we get the deal done and we have him in the team on a Sunday because it gives us a significantly better opportunity of finally beating Arsenal at the Emirates. That's what we need to do for me. And I'm
this
excited.
Why I'm here to burst your bubble. This is why I'm here to burst your bubble. This Sunday is going to be a bloodbath, Terry. I'm going to be honest with you. Lost to Fulham, they drew to Fulham last week makes your situation even worse for this Sunday. I'm going to be honest with you. I genuinely don't think you have a hope in hell. I'm going to just be honest with you. I've backed Arsenal to win the league. I already think very highly of Arsenal. You know this. It's not just a United thing. I really genuinely think highly of Arsenal. I think Arsenal are going to slap you. I genuinely think they're going to win by 2 or 3 goal difference. I actually genuinely predicted, agendas aside, I fully predicted a 4-1 to Arsenal. I think Arsenal are going to smash Man United. I think this is going to be their first big game of the win. I'm guaranteeing right now. Guaranteed that Arsenal beat Man United this Sunday. I promise you. And you know what? I'll do something for Terry. I'll come on his match reaction if Man United win. I'll come on and I'll apologize publicly. It doesn't even need to be a segment or anything crazy. I'll just come on at the start before he even goes or anything. I'll just go like, hey guys, welcome to the terrace. I apologize, I was wrong. But Arsenal are going to beat Manchester United this Sunday. I've got no doubt about it whatsoever because they're just better and they're more prepared and they're readier. Even if Amrabat is in there. Look, here's the thing. I agree with Terry. Should he start? Yes, 100%. But we also have to look at it from Ten Hag's perspective. Usually managers like to give a player a little time, stuff like that. He'll probably bring him off the bench, give him 30 minutes, 45 minutes, blah, blah, blah. So I think he'll probably start the same team again. And by that time, it's too late. I think Arsenal might be 3-0 up within halftime. And for all the people who are saying Hussam Jinx, last Friday, I guaranteed we beat Newcastle. What was the result? Liverpool 2, Newcastle 1. Who told you about the Newcastle hype first? Just saying. Where are they right now?
Hang on, though. No, when you spoke on Thursday, you said you were guaranteed to beat them. By the Friday, you changed your mind and said you were going to get smoked.
That's rumors. That's rumors.
You liar. Listen,
I guarantee that. I guarantee that. That's
okay,
all I'm
so
saying.
how confident are you that on the scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that Arsenal beat Man United this weekend?
How confident? First of all, I'm going to need this camp to focus on the moneymaker right here. How confident am I? Scale 1 to 10? 10.
Okay,
100%.
So, let's do this then. Let's see how confident you really are.
No, don't put nothing on the line. I know how you are.
I want to see how confident you are. So if we get a draw, you come on and do the apology. Right? Cool.
No, the loss.
No. Because let me finish. Let me cook. So if we don't lose, you come on and say sorry for this outrageous claim. If Man United beat Arsenal, you not only come on and say sorry, but you reshave your hair off again live on the terrace afterwards. If you're 10 out of 10
no.
Then it's an easy little wager to have because you know that you're not going to have to do it.
Nope.
See, because how he's not confident. Have you seen how he's not confident? You see how he's not confident.
It took me 2 months to regrow this hair. I ain't gonna shave nothing. I'm never putting my hair on the line.
You guaranteed an Arsenal win, so you're not shaving your hair off, are you?
And I'll apologize publicly. I told you I'll come on your match reaction. Send me the link. I'll come up here. And at the start, before you've even done the Terry monologue, I'll come here. I'll say, guys, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry, Manchester United. Sorry, Manchester United fans, if you win. Or even if you get to draw.
Okay, so no hair then. So this is what we'll do. you have to do the next Straight Fact show, and we'll get it sent out to you. If Man United win, you have to do the next Straight Fact show in a Man United shirt.
I'll never wear that. There is
you're
nothing
confident.
in the world that can make me wear it.
Are
Nothing.
you noticing that? Are you noticing though, ladies and gentlemen? If you were sure 10 out of 10, 100% that Arsenal were going to win, you would take these bets because you can't lose because it's a guarantee, right?
Yes, I guaranteed it, but I'm not gonna take that bet. I'll never wear Man United shirt. And also, you know, you already know how I feel about your corruption. Dodgy penalty, dodgy red. We already know with Man United, so I can never take that risk.
Listen, listen. Your opinion's your opinion. I'm not. People say, why are you challenging the opinion? I'm not challenging the opinion. I'm challenging when he said it's 100% certain. I want to see how certain he really is, and we're already seeing him go from 10 to like a 7. So I'm just calling out the BS people. That's all I'm doing here. And when you ask people to put their money where their mouth is, that's when you see their real confidence. That's when
no,
you see
but I will
real
never put. I'll never do any bet with a Man United. I'll never wear a Man United shirt. I bought one piece of Man United thing my whole life, and that's Man United bathroom slippers. So I step on the crest before I go do my business in bathroom. So I'm never ever buying any Man United thing ever. And if my son wants to support Man United in the future, I'm just gonna disown him. He gonna have to find a new dad. I'm sorry. You've got to find a girl first. You've got to find a woman first. Relax.
Hey,
that ain't difficult. That's the easy part.
I'm only messing with you, bro. She's like she's leaving your ass if she sees you. I have to stand on a Man United badge before I go to the bathroom. She'll be like, "That is weird, bro." She'll be like, "That's weird." Do you know what I did though? On my wedding, there was about 5 or 6 different people that they didn't all know each other, but they were at the wedding and they were Liverpool fans. And what we had them do in the kitchens is we provided them with, everyone had like these really nice plates. Their plates came out, they didn't notice until they started eating. They were Man United plates. And once they got through the food, they'd see the Man United badge. So we did that to the Liverpool fans.
You've done them dirty.
3 of the guys who came to the, like, they did make me laugh. Like, friends of mine came to the wedding. They came wearing their Liverpool ties and everything else. And but it was a weird one because it was the summer. It was 2013, the summer. So we were champions of England. That's the last time we won it. Do you know what I mean? I actually blame myself.
And ever since then, your life ain't been the same.
Since I got married, Man United have been crap. Like, do you know what I mean? So I'd never get married again.
You know, I actually found there's a company in Norway that actually make toilet paper with crests, with club badges. And they fully sell it online. I've actually found it. Like, there's Man United toilet paper, Liverpool toilet paper, Arsenal toilet paper. Like, I think, you know what I love about football, and this is why genuinely I can't get into any other sport, like fully get into it like football, is tribalism. Because without tribalism, football would just be pointless. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love the tribalism.
I hear you on that. Viewers, let us know what you think. We're going to be previewing Man United Arsenal a little later, as we say, with Lee Gunner and Igal. Staffy, Hannah. It's going to be an epic show, I think, later on tonight. I want to talk Tottenham for a minute before we go on to Liverpool and Chelsea in more detail. So they've £47.5 million today they have paid for Brennan Johnson. 47.5 million. And they've also just made a verbal offer of 40 million for Conor Gallagher. That has just gone into Chelsea. So today they're looking to spend 87 million pound on Gallagher and Brennan Johnson. Talk to me.
Tottenham Hotspur might be the dumbest football club in this entire league. I'm gonna be just completely honest with you. Honestly, bro, like, this 47 million for Brennan Johnson. It's just, I'm gonna be honest with you, I just don't know what to say. Like, I genuinely just don't know what to say. When I saw that earlier on, I'm like, did they just actually pay 47 million for this guy? 47 million. 47 million. That's insane. That's genuinely insane numbers to me. And the Gallagher thing doesn't make sense either. Look, is Gallagher maybe over-attacked by Chelsea fans? Yes, but that's because Chelsea fans are spoiled brats who just have no patience. So maybe he's over-attacked, but Conor Gallagher ain't really worth 40 million, to be honest with you. I don't think Gallagher offers something special like that. He's an all-rounder. He can do multiple things at an okay level. So he can pass good, you know, he can shoot good, he can, you know, cross good, whatever, and he has high work rate and stuff. So, like, he's an all-rounder a little bit. But for me, I just don't see the direction Spurs are headed in. And I know everyone's happy about Ange Postecoglou, and this is why I told you, Terry, I'm never doing Spurs hype ever again my whole life. I'm never, ever going to do Spurs hype. Never. Because people started to fall for it after Ange's last game. After they beat Bournemouth, it was like, oh, Spurs have 7 points from their first 3 games. Oh, Spurs are amazing. And then boom, they end up losing to Fulham in the Carabao Cup. So it's just Spurs being Spurs. So for me, if after Mourinho and Conte, you can do nothing, I'm never going to back you again. With Brennan Johnson, is it a smart signing? No, it's not a smart signing. There's absolutely nothing smart about the signing. Not the price tag, not the player. Brennan Johnson is one of these players that these based on ability merchants wanks off to just based on ability. Brennan Johnson, and he just looks nice and he's technical and he dribbles nice and shit. Can he do anything in the final third? No. I think he only got like 11 GA, I swear, like last season. So like, listen, GA matters. GA matters, people. Yeah. I promise you, GA matters. So for me, with Brennan Johnson, nothing special with that player. Gallagher doesn't move the needle for them. And as predicted, Tottenham Hotspur have spent the Kane money all wrong. Well done, Tottenham Hotspur. You've Spurs it up again. That's all I've got for Spurs, man. What a shit club as well. Well, like, how do you lose to Fulham in the Carabao Cup?
Well, we'll come to that in a minute. £47 million for Brennan Johnson.
47.
It's interesting, really, because I think there's definitely question marks over Man United spending £55 million on Mount. There's definitely question marks on Arsenal spending £60 million on Kai Havertz. But I think both Kai Havertz and Mason Mount are better football players than Brennan Johnson. As bad as people think they are, they're better than Brennan Johnson. And if a Brendan Johnson level player is now £47 million, if a Conor Gallagher level player is 40 million, if that's what they go for, then it kind of makes you look at deals for like Rice at 100 million. And you think to yourself, that's really
bargain.
Good value.
That's the bargain.
And this is why, like, when people have been saying recently, like, £100 million on these midfielders is crazy. It isn't when you consider that a bang average forward. In fact, Spurs have done this twice now. They've bought 2 bang average forwards for a combined total of about £110 million in Richarlison and Brennan Johnson. So if bang average players now are going for nearly 50 million, I don't think 55 million for Mount is a bad deal at all, because he's much better than he is and will prove that at Man United. I still don't think he's world class, but he's better than that. It also makes the Rice deal look a snip. Man United, honestly, I'm telling you this now, in not just 2-3 years, by the end of this season, you're going to look back at 64 million for Rasmus Højlund and go, well worth it. Because he is, in my opinion, is light years better than Brendan Johnson in every category. Even speed, Højlund's quicker. So that's why I said to people, 64 million, it's a lot of money. It isn't. It isn't when you consider 50 million gets you Brendan Johnson. And
there's no need to like go off theory. We just watched Johnson against Man United. We just watched him like 5-6 days ago. Why? Like, there's no need to be edgy. Like, okay, he can beat the fullback, but you know what separates the elite wingers from the regular ass wingers? How many wingers in the world could beat their fullback? Like 90% of them could beat their fullback. 80% could beat the fullback. That's why they're wingers. Can they do anything after they beat their fullback? That's what separates them. So listen, with Johnson, he's just, quick, looks nice on the eye, and that's it. But I'm so happy Terry mentioned the Richarlison thing, because Tottenham Hotspur have spent 110 million on garbage essentially going forward. And this is where we have to give credit to smart football clubs. Manchester City, you already know, are a fake, plastic, scummy club, but they do make right decisions in the transfer market. Spurs could have 100% used that money 100 times smartly. And this is what pisses me off with Spurs. Spurs will make a very smart decision, Madden. Extremely smart decision for cheap money. Get their value, get their worth of money and everything. And then, literally, in the same summer, mistake. Just like that. And it just makes no sense. Have they not paid more for Brennan Johnson than they did for James Maddison? And how's that logical? I swear they paid 40 for Maddison, right?
Yeah, and obviously Maddison was easier to get because the team had been relegated, and it does make players cheaper. So I think you have to factor that in. But again, you have to look at it for the value. And look, I was looking here, right? Last season, he played 14 games as a centre forward, 11 games as a right winger, 13 games as an attacking midfield player. So he's a forward. And which is why, listen, I think as an attacking midfield player, I think Mount is superior to him. Genuinely believe that. So 55. And
Those stats are for Johnson or Mount?
No, that's for Johnson. What I'm saying is that this guy isn't an out-and-out striker. He can play attacking midfield. He can play on the right as well. I'm not even happy with the Mount deal, but it makes it's about telling people you've got to understand what money gets you nowadays. £50 million basically gets you Brennan Johnson, who in my opinion is bang average. So I think when you think how much Mason Mount costs, it must be that's too much money. Is it for buying a Premier League player? No. Whether or not he delivers for Man United is another thing. Equally, when it comes to now these 100 million, that's why Rice is 100 million. He has to be if Brennan Johnson is 50 million because he's twice the player. It's why Mo Salah is worth 200 million pound because he's that much better. So yeah, football is changing financially, but I just think, again, I do think they could have gone out there because there was a lad they were linked to. Who I want to say he's from Belgium.
Why are they this desperate to sign a forward anyway? Why do they think it's this important to spend 47 million on a winger now to begin with? Why?
Do you know what's crazy? With what they got for Harry Kane, genuinely, Vlahovic, in my opinion, better option as an example. You've got, they might not sell him, but go and try and, Ollie Watkins, much better player. Go and try and buy him. There are players out there, and look, they might not be able to sign everybody. But there are better attackers out there across Europe, better strikers out there across Europe than Brennan Johnson. It's an absolute madness to me. Listen, I get why they let Harry Kane go, but it's a shocking piece of business. 40 million for Conor Gallagher. Again, I think that's a fair price. I think Gallagher, I know Poch is, listen, me and Lee Gunner got into a big fight about this the other day. Poch is talking him up. We love him. He's been great. He's been amazing. I swear he said that about Maatsen the other day and they're willing to sell him. Of course, Poch is not going to say, yeah, Gallagher's bang average, because you're going to lower his price and you want to sell for as much money as possible so you can spend more money later on down the line. But again, I know Chelsea fans won't all like hearing this, but for me, when it comes to Conor Gallagher, and I said this to them about Loftus-Cheek, and I said this to them about Hudson-Odoi, not good enough to make you Premier League champions again. £40 million for a good Premier League player is decent money. So they could raise 70 odd million today, Chelsea, through selling Maatsen and Conor Gallagher. Chalobah's also wanted by Bayern Munich. So again, you might be able to raise 30 odd million for him. They could raise £100 million today, Chelsea.
I think Chalobah's a mistake, by the way. I think letting go of Chalobah's a mistake.
Really?
I genuinely think Chalobah could be a... Listen, people who have spoken to me, even people who have came on the terrace before, we've spoken about this probably from 2 years ago. When they were hyping up all these youngsters, I said, I see something in Chalobah. I think Chalobah's a good defender, you know? Genuinely. I actually genuinely believe he's a good defender. And I think he could be a defender that ends up lifting a major trophy. The others, I agree with you completely on. I think Chalobah is better than Disasi, who they bought. Genuinely. I'm saying this with no agenda. Everyone knows, listen, it's F Chelsea settings for me. So I'm not going to do any Chelsea prop for no reason. But I think Chalobah has something. I don't think Chalobah's done or dead or crap like people make out. I personally, I mean, maybe even my fan base would disagree with him, but I would take Chalobah at Liverpool as well. I genuinely would. I think he definitely could be an option, because you look at him from a defensive perspective, he's very good defensively. I just don't see it why we act like Chalobah is just crap. And it's funny to see in the comments all these City fans getting rattled. Your club is plastic. Why are you angry at facts? You brought your biggest rep on the straight facts, and he still couldn't handle the facts. So where do we go from here? All these City fans always try. Your club is plastic. It's fake. Own it. It could have been anyone else. You won the jackpot. What if Newcastle won the jackpot? I mean, they have now. What if Everton won the jackpot or someone else back in the day? Your club was nobody before the jackpot. Out of your major trophies, there's 7 championship trophies. You know this? Go learn your history, bro. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just had to respond to that. These City fans always mad. What are you mad for? This is why the City fan base is genuinely the most insecure fan base in the whole league in terms of insecurity, highest levels of insecurity, because they know the reality of their football club. Fake, plastic, not real, could have been anyone else. So it means nothing. That's why with your success, no one gives a fuck. Next day, we said, haha, Arsenal, you bottled it. No one said anything to City. No one gives a fuck. Shit club.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, I think about Chalobah, again, I don't think he's good enough, but I understand what you mean. And when I say good enough, I mean to move Chelsea to another level. I think that I've got really high standards for young players from academies. As a Man United fan, we have one of the greatest academies, like historically, one of the greatest academies ever. With the Busby Babes and the Fergie's Fledglings, and we produce good players. And other teams have got really good ones now as well. I love an academy player. I think we've had, I don't even know the amount of years. I think it's 70, 80 years on the bounce. We've had an academy player in every match day team for 70, 80 years. I love it. But you've got to have the standards high. And it's one thing Ten Hag's doing that I like. Man United fans are always, oh, this kid's a baller. He's got to play. And then he gets sold. And one's like, oh, it's a massive mistake. And he does nothing. It's kind of weird. You can tell almost instantly if a player is going to be good enough to move the needle for your team as a youngster. Almost.
Don't you think he's better than Disasi, though?
No, look, Disasi, look, he's come to England. He's made it. Again, my view is no. I haven't seen enough of Disasi. But the reason I look at it and go, if he was, Chelsea just wouldn't have bought Disasi. If that makes it. I think the same thing about Tomori. As good as he's been over there in Italy, it's over there in Italy. And listen, Chris Smalling is one of the best centre-backs in that league. Was he one of the best centre-backs in this league? He just wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
And it doesn't mean Tomori is bad. Maybe his game is more suited to things over there. The fact is, just look at Bayern Munich. They were looking at McTominay's and Chalobah's and Eric Dyer's because they believe they're good enough to help them win the Bundesliga. That tells you the level and standard of that league is below the Premier League overall, because no City wouldn't be looking to buy those players to strengthen up their defense. And that's kind of what you've got to look at and aim for is, would my rivals want a play? Generally, sometimes you get an obscure deal. But if you look at a lot of the players we've all, and man, the Ten Hag talent ID thing's interesting because there's so much overlap. The only fan base that don't attack us for it is your fan base, because there's such an overlap in terms of players both our clubs have looked at or wanted or gone for in the last year. Yeah, Gakpo, Nunes, Mount, Amrabat, Gravenberch, McAllister. Like, there's a great overlap. So that's why most Liverpool fans don't join in.
I think you can argue both managers have bad talent ID if you want to make that argument. Klopp and Ten Hag. But you can't say one has good and one has bad.
So yeah. If you're gonna say one's got bad, you've got to say both. You can't. Yeah. No, that's fair. And I don't think either do have bad talent ID. It's just the one thing with Ten Hag that's interesting. He is going for a lot of players he's managed before or wanted before, but then at the same time, I saw some Dutch guy, the clip of him online. I don't even know who he is, but he said that the thing for Ten Hag is because of where he was managing these players before, he was never able to hold on to them. So for him, it's a case of, and you could argue this, if Ajax would have kept all their players together from 4 or 5 years ago and developed that team, how good could they have become? So there might be an element of a manager that's had those players that thinks, I want to try and bring some of those guys back because there just wasn't the money at Ajax to build the squad I wanted consistently enough. Because so I think there's an element of that in there as well. But look, some managers are successful doing it, some do it a different way. It is what it is. But yeah,
some decisions though will bite you. Like the Anthony decision might bite him, the Mount decision might bite him. So these are decisions we will see what happens. But we'll see this season. Anyway.
Do you know what's crazy? Anthony versus Nottingham Forest was pretty good, but he did it once in the game where he went on the outside and cut it back when he scored. And it's like, I know you have the ability to do it. I actually think he has the pace to do it. He just chooses not to. That's the infuriating bit. And I think Rio Ferdinand made a great point. He basically said, man's got to go gym and put some muscle on. He's just a little bit too weak for the Premier League. He needs more power. And again, it shouldn't be that difficult to go in the gym and just lift some heavier weights for 3 months, right? And I'm boiling it down basically, and you'll just become more powerful. Now, you'll have personal trainers that will teach you how to do it properly, but anybody can add power to themselves. Any athlete can do that. What's up?
Nothing. I'm just flexing my traps.
Sorry. I thought so. I thought some news broke. Oh, what's happened? Let's go to some super chats here. This one says Ange needs to justify Brennan Johnson's price, the same as Arteta and Ten Hag, but 22 years, got potential and less pressure. Just got a better chance to hit than Mount and Havertz, as Mount and Havertz won't get that patience. Yeah. I hear where you're coming from there. And listen, the only way
we're talking about patience. What do Tottenham fans ask for? I promise you, and you can ask Terry this. 99% of Spurs fans I've spoken to this season are just telling me about they want to see good football. That's a club I'm supposed to take seriously.
They were singing a week ago, we've got our Tottenham back, just because the football looked pretty. That's Spurs, as a general rule, most Spurs fans, and I'm saying 80%, and there's 20% that don't. So if you're someone that doesn't agree, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, you're in the 20%. 80% are happy to play nice football that gets praised, but never really never have the pressure put upon them as a club to succeed and win trophies, because then they just kind of sit there and, little Tottenham, everyone likes them, they play pretty football, they get praise in the media, but there's no pressure to succeed. As soon as that
I
pressure
swear
comes
to you,
on
there's
top,
a Spurs fan that
they
said
collapse.
to me word for word, he would be happy to finish 8th if they play nice football. That's when
Mate,
I'm just like,
most
nope,
Spurs fans think like that. My dad thinks like that. That's how I know. Like my dad and me own a business together, and our business partner in it as well. He's a Spurs fan. His name's Lee. He's part of the 20%. Fuming they went out of the League Cup. My dad's sitting there the other day defending it, saying, but what if we got 2 or 3 of our first team players injured for the league game this weekend? Then what would we say? And I'm like, deep that logic for a moment, deep that logic for a minute. And I'm just looking at my dad and I'm like, oh, Dad. Like, there's lots of things about my dad I love. And
don't you think Pochettino is at
I
fault
look
for
at the
that?
attitude and I'm like, Dad, that's just so weak for me. I can't stand it.
Don't you think Pochettino instilled that in that fan base a little bit?
No, it's been in the Spurs fan base since I can remember. My whole life, Spurs have been, they're happy being the bridesmaids, and they're happy being the bridesmaids that don't catch the bouquet of flowers. They're just happy to be part of the wedding, but I don't think they want to be the main attraction. I think that pressure of you have to deliver, it scares them. They would rather just sit on the side and be involved. Gee, yeah, her dress looked nice. They are Pippa Middleton, not Kate Middleton, is what I'm going to say there. They like to be on the outskirts. Disasi's lack of speed concerns me. I prefer Trevor.
Facts.
Interesting take there, S Keys. Blaze says Chelsea like Maatsen, but he's not signing a new deal. Well, this is what's interesting about that, Blaze. According here to Matt Law and Simon Phillips, Matt Law has said here that the expectation is that Maatsen will choose to stay at Chelsea despite the agreement with Burnley. And then Simon Phillips goes on to say that Ian Maatsen will be seriously challenging Ben Chilwell for his position this season if he stays. Can we say the same thing about Cucurella? I'll answer that no. I'm going to challenge that by saying, but if your club and manager are willing to sell him, how do you know he's definitely going to challenge Ben Chilwell for his position? Because if he was that highly rated, why would you accept the bid? And again, that's not a dig. It's just, again,
reality.
We're putting the maths don't work. It's 2 + 2 and it's coming out at 37. It doesn't make sense. If he's really the guy that's going to challenge Ben Chilwell, which means he's got a chance of being a first team player, why would you accept a bid on deadline day, 31 million for him? That tells me that he's not thought of as rubbish, but he cannot be, by the manager and club, as highly rated as Chelsea fans see him. Doesn't mean Chelsea fans are wrong about how good he is. It means your club is not agreeing with you in terms of the future they see for this player, because you wouldn't accept. There's no way today Man United accept a bid unless it is a world record bid for Garnacho. It would take £150 million for us to sell him today. Now, I'm not saying he's worth that much. I'm making the point that our club thinks he's going to be a star, so they wouldn't sell him. Why would you accept £31 million for a player that's you believe is going to become your main left back? Doesn't make sense. And that's not a dig.
I agree.
It's just logic. You've got to use logic. Nav here says, slightly off topic, if there was one thing Palmer does that players don't do today in football is he shoots from outside the box, which is what we really need at Chelsea. Nearly everyone at the club scores in the box or in the D. Yeah, what do you make of Palmer going to Chelsea? Do you think that's a good bit of business?
I mean, number one, I disagree with Naval's end there. I don't think enough players shoot in the penalty box. Chelsea's problem remains goal scoring, and Palmer could change that. First of all, I'm very surprised from City's perspective that they let him go to begin with. I'm surprised. I think Cole Palmer is better than Doku. I genuinely, I think Palmer's, I genuinely believe it. I think Palmer's better than Doku. I think Palmer's and definitely has higher potential, in my opinion. I think he probably could get to higher heights than Doku did. I think with Cole Palmer, it's very shocking from City's perspective that they let him go. I think very talented. The goal that he scored against Arsenal in the Community Shield, every time he plays for City, he looks incredible. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he looks incredible. Now, maybe from his perspective, he just feels betrayed because they bought Doku, etc. Maybe he's looking at it from the perspective of he doesn't think he might start at City, which is fair enough. I think his quality probably would have shone through at the end and he would have gotten more opportunities. But I think Cole Palmer is a fantastic player. And I think Chelsea made a great signing there. Price tag as well makes sense. I think definitely paying for potential of what he could become. I think Cole Palmer is a fantastic player. And I'm more shocked from City's perspective, to be honest with you, than from Chelsea's perspective. And he could definitely help them with goals. 100% he could help them with the goals.
Look, I think it's a good bit of business from Chelsea. Talented player, better than Doku. It's a massive take. I haven't seen enough of Doku to have an opinion on that, so I'm going to just leave that one out there. Viewers, let us know what you think. KJ, put that comment up that you've just typed in. Yeah, just in, Tottenham have submitted a 40 million verbal bid for Conor Gallagher. Yeah, we spoke about that a little bit earlier, KJ. And look, Chelsea today could raise 100 million, which I'm just looking at this now. I know they spent a lot of money, right? And I don't do net spend because net spend isn't real. But what is real is the income you can generate through sales. Just looking at Chelsea for a minute here. So that if they make another 100 million today, that'll be like 360 million of sales so far this season. Last year they did a bit less, around 70. So that would put them at like 400 million. So I don't do the net spend thing, but that's still a lot to raise, which is why they've been able to keep spending. I still see them maybe signing somebody else. I think if they sell all three of those players, I wouldn't be surprised there's a big shock bid that comes in for someone. João Felix on his way to Barca.
Overrated.
Yeah, I think he's average. Doesn't score, doesn't have the output. He doesn't have the output to match his technical ability. The technical ability is amazing, but the technical ability of the outputs, that's like a bacon sandwich with no brown sauce in it. Do you know what I'm saying? It just, not that you eat bacon. I'm just.
I don't know what you're saying. To be fair,
yeah, no, it's a bacon sandwich. A bacon sandwich. It's a very British thing I'm about to say. That's true. I know you'd never get that, but a bacon.
The fact I don't even know what brown sauce is either.
I'll explain it to you. So obviously we all know what bacon is. A bacon sandwich in England on really thick bread, nice amount of butter, loads of bacon in it. It's a British delicacy. It's a really nice little bit of breakfast. But you have to have sauce on it. Some people have brown sauce. Some people have like tomato ketchup. And brown sauce, I don't even know what's in brown sauce, but it's a lovely sauce. But if you have a bacon sandwich with no sauce, it kills the sandwich. Does that make sense? It's just like you know,
it's like having
a hot dog with no mustard on it. You can't do it. You have to do it. And that is what João Felix is. There's something missing from him as a player that doesn't complement it. So yeah, it's one of them ones there for me. So, but yeah, brown sauce is arse. You're a mate. Listen, you're a Philistine. You're a Philistine. It's haram. Yeah, it's not haram for me to eat it. I respect people that it is haram for, but yeah, there we go. You mean BLT? No, I don't mean a BLT. That's a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. Just a bacon sandwich. It's a breakfast. You just honestly, if you do eat bacon, and look, if you eat turkey bacon, try it with turkey bacon. It's almost as good, as long as it's greasy. Nice thick white bread, loads of butter, then a bit of sauce in it.
I've had turkey bacon before. Turkey bacon tastes nice.
Some turkey bacon does. Like there's a restaurant near the cafe near me. It's Turkish owned, and they're obviously they do the cooking. They don't cook all their sausages. Their sausages are beef, and their bacon is turkey because obviously they don't want to handle pork, which is fair enough. And I didn't know the first 3 or 4 times, and I couldn't tell the difference. And I love a bit of bacon, so yeah, try it with that, people. If that's the thing. Let's do some more super chats here. This one says, Terry, what's the deadline for Amrabat to play? 12 noon tomorrow, and it will happen. So he'll be available for the Arsenal game. Hark, thank you very much. People saying Liverpool showed. We'll come back to Liverpool in a minute. We'll come back to Liverpool. Hopefully, this is the last window with these owners. I hope so, my friend. Igal versus Lee. F that. I want to see a rematch. Here we go. Yeah, it's going to be an epic. If you just don't know that, top 6 show tonight. Lee Gunner and Igal are both on it, so make sure you're tuning in. It's clear they are selling because Cucurella stayed. I would have kept him, but there's 100% profit aspect in it as well. Also, didn't he play for Burnley last year? Yeah, he was at Burnley last season. Burnley really what? Burnley have spent about, if they get this deal, Burnley would have spent £150 million this summer. Huge.
Vincent Kompany.
Vincent Kompany's going for it. He really is. Would have liked to keep Hall, Maatsen, but given the choices of getting Caicedo, Lavia, etc., and keeping Hall and Maatsen, I'd sell them. It is what it is what Gav says. Question for Hassam. Hassam, what's your reaction to Man City and Barca's Champions League groups?
City, once again, get an easy group. You can't fucking ride this, man. It's actually a joke. Barca's group, I swear Barca are like with Inter Milan and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just quickly check the groups for you because I
No,
genuinely
I don't
forgot.
think they've not got Inter Milan. What about Newcastle's buddy group? Jeez.
Oh, Barcelona's group, just so I can answer the question. Barcelona with Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp. Like, yeah, easy group right there for you. Newcastle are getting eliminated. I promise you, everyone warned you about, everyone who done all this Newcastle prop and who Sam came in here. I said it before the draw. I said it before the transfer window was closed. I've been saying it last 2 months. Newcastle hype will be dead this season. I promise you. All this Newcastle hype means nothing because when the Champions League starts and they've got to play Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, Tuesday, blah 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 blah, they're gonna drop off. I actually predicted, I swear, Newcastle come 8th or 9th, possibly 7th. So that's how low I think on Newcastle this year.
Interesting. All Chelsea fans will tell you Trevor is better, is what Elite says here. Terry Holding is out of my club. You son of a bitch. Woohoo. Sorry, Terry. I'm just happy he's gone now. Cedric, Lokonga, and El Neni to go. Get these bums out of my club. Yeah, you can swear, bruv. It's fine.
You know that meme with 50 Cent? Why you say fuck me for? That's what I'm thinking. Like, man, just got stopped Terry, bro.
I know. I don't think it was called me a son of a bitch. That's how it read to me. But if he was, fair enough. Hassan Brown Sauce is what Spurs call this transfer window. No, because Brown Sauce is amazing. So it can't be. It can't be. Hussein here says Felix is still 23, bro. End product can be developed. Look at Saka before. He was a different player over a span of one season. Felix has the talent. But if he
and how long ago has he had the talent? How long ago? How long ago has we been talking about that? When did he make the move from Benfica? Because this is currently, as things stand, as things stand, this is currently 2023 for the people that are unaware. Felix moved in 2019. So has he not had the talent for the last 4 years? What's happened?
I look at it this look. He is 23, he turns 24 in November, so nearly 24, mid-20s now. He's no longer a kid. Look, if he starts scoring, then my opinion about him will change because he's changed it through scoring and assisting. If he starts adding output, I'll say he's turned the corner and he's now good enough. But if it comes to my club buying him, nearly 24 years of age, been playing now at a high level for 6-7 years, he isn't scoring and assisting enough to warrant the salary and the money that it would cost to get him. So yeah, he could turn it around, but we'll see. Man United getting smoked like bacon this weekend. I like that. That's very clever. The pitch has never changed. Sorry, the pitch has never changed, but players and managers have people who won't understand like people who have. Clips ain't the real thing. That's what I mean by shooting. Okay. No,
I hear what you're saying. You mean you want more players to take risks from outside the penalty box, which is fair. I'm saying me and Terry have actually completely agreed on Chelsea. They just need more goals. If Chelsea could score more goals, they would solve like 60%, 70% of the problem. Just put the ball in the back of the net. That's their biggest issue. And if they do that consistently, then Chelsea will be a fantastic team.
They very much could be. Moving on to your club.
Hey.
A bid today has been turned down for Mo Salah, 150 million in totality. The talk is they're going to come in again. And put another bid in for him. And this could there is talk in the Middle East, and maybe you're seeing this more on your news than we are, to be fair, that they could go as high as 200 million. Do you think Liverpool are going to accept it? And do you think they should?
Do I think Liverpool are going to accept it? No. Do I think they should? No. Mo Salah's priceless. That's just the thing I'm looking at right now. No player is bigger than the club. So Liverpool will not cease to exist if we sell Mo Salah. But in terms of the short-term future, we're absolutely screwed if we let him go. Absolutely screwed. I mean, players like Saka, just one younger player of the season. He's a player that got into the season over Mo Salah. He's got like half his GA. So output matters. And you can't just remove essentially 40+ goals and assists from your team. And you can't remove someone who's like a clutch player, a big game player like that. You just can't. And for me with Mo, I think this just depends on the mindset of the fan you're speaking to. if the fan never sees himself winning the league again or never winning the Champions League again, then he tell you, yeah, from a business perspective, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not an accountant. I'm a Liverpool fan. I want Liverpool Football Club to win. The only way for Liverpool Football Club to win is to keep their best players. Chelsea haven't replaced Hazard till now. Arsenal haven't replaced Van Persie till now. Fabregas still today. You look at United after Ronaldo, how difficult was for them to replace them. So for me, finding replacements for someone like Mo Salah is going to be absolutely difficult. And even the players that we're linked with, like the likes of Bakayoko and Chet, that ain't a good enough replacement for Mo. We already know, by the way, what Liverpool are going to do. Probably go get Jared Bowen from West Ham. So we're just kind of reducing our levels. Over the last 5 years, Mo's probably been the best player in the league alongside KDB. I don't want to get in that argument. Let's say they're 1 and 2 in whichever order you want over the last 5 years because of how consistent they've been. So
Yeah.
I'm not willing to let go of that player. I'm just really not willing to let go of that player. And I think because of sports science and how Mo Salah treats the sport and how he like takes football seriously, I think Mo Salah is more likely to become a Lewandowski, where he would be going strong 35, 36, 37. You could probably even, maybe 3 years from now, you could probably play him as striker and he'd still bang. And I'll tell you this as a Middle Eastern man. The offer from the Middle East is going to continue to come for Mo Salah. It's not like if we say no this summer, they're never going to come back in again. Says who? They're always gonna want Mo Salah to play for the football club because just from a marketing perspective, whatever they'll pay for Mo, they'll make back in shirt sales like the next day. You look at I never in my whole life in Jordan seen an Singer and Nasser shirt. Never seen it one time my whole life. Ronaldo moves there. Suddenly I see kids wearing a Nasser shirt. I'm like, do you guys even know who that club is? Like in Jordan, how do you even know like about that club? So for me, just from a marketing perspective, you'd see like Al-Ittihad shirts everywhere and stuff, and they'd make that money back. But for us, short-term future, absolutely screwed. We ain't got a right winger, and you can't just simply take a player out of the club of that caliber, of that quality, and think it's all going to be okay. And just before people call me a Salah sexual or blah blah blah, I'd keep the same energy for Alisson. I'd say the same thing for Trent. I'd probably say the same thing to Van Dijk to an extent. If you ever want to become a team that wins stuff, you need to keep your best players. And players like that come once in a lifetime, and it's extremely difficult to replace a player like Mo Salah. So I'm not willing to let him go for 200 million. And also, with all due respect, there's like fucking 5 hours left. Who am I going to buy in the next 5 hours?
That's true. Blaze here says Hassam is living in cuckoo land. The Saudi window is open for 2 more weeks, and Salah is basically moving to paradise. Liverpool won't reject 200 million because of fans' feelings.
But it's not even because of my feeling. Klopp has come out for the last 2 weeks and every single time said there is no deal, we're rejecting it. And it's been substantiated by what's happening in the media. Has Orsi not said Liverpool are going to reject it? Has Fabrizio not said Liverpool reject it? Has everyone not said reject? So Liverpool are rejecting these bids. And I expect them to test our fortitude, but we'll continue rejecting the bids, man, because I think the club now with the signing of Gravenberch, probably going forward, even the players are a bit more excited and they see themselves as a contender this season. So because of that reason, I don't think that he leaves, to be honest with you. I think it's too soon, by the way, because he still is in his prime. He still is in his prime. Like he's still delivering.
Let me ask you a question though, because you like a hypothetical. If FSG did accept 180 million pounds, say they did it, they overruled Klopp and they did it, what would your reaction to that? How angry do you think the Liverpool fan base would be as a general rule? Or do you think that those same people that come for you all the time would spin it into a positive?
I mean, listen, the people who try to spin shit into positive will try to spin it into a positive regardless, you know? It's funny, I got a whole ass long DM from someone yesterday talking about, you know, Hussam, I think it's time to unfollow you. You're being negative all the time. After I broke it down to him, he's like, you know what, you're right. You just say it as it is. We've signed 4 players this summer. I was happy about 2. I didn't like 1, and I'm indifferent about the 4th. That does not mean negativity. That means if you think something is good, you say it. If you think something's bad, you say it. With the FSG situation and Mo Salah, you know, as you said, overruling Klopp, blah, 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 the people that are in the middle are the ones that will turn. And to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you, this is the one summer where I've seen more and more people turn. Step by step, more and more people are turning on FSG. Because for us, it's a fight more against kind of FSG enablers more than anything, because that's the big fight that I'm having. That's why I got called out by the biggest Liverpool fan channel twice by name, they called me out. So look, it is what it is. This is the life that has been given to me with this whole Liverpool situation. And I think more and more people will turn, and they shouldn't sell him. Simple as that. Simple as that. Shouldn't sell him.
This here from James says, people saying Liverpool showed their hand with the Caicedo deal. The Saudis showed their hand, put in 200 million M's for 1 year for Mbappe. Why take less for the biggest Muslim athlete on the planet? I mean, that is a fair point from that perspective. And listen, they have limitless money, and they're probably they're not the richest people in the world anymore. Like Elon Musk is richer, but that's asset based. In terms of liquid cash, no one's as rich, in my opinion, as the Saudis. That's just an opinion. In terms of actual cash that they have, so they can afford to pay whatever they need to. There's always an upper limit. I think if they kept on, and I know there's no one left to buy. If they came in this evening when there's £350 million, Liverpool are accepting, because you just would. But are they going to pay that much? I doubt it. Hussam, Salah is going 200 million. Just got dropped. Is what he just said. Listen, I don't know if that.
200 million, by the way, 200 million is not the price. It's this is with add-ons. So the price keeps increasing. But one of the reports I read apparently is some of the add-ons are unrealistic as well. So that's why.
Chelsea and Madrid won the Champions League after Hazard and Ronaldo left, is what he's saying here. So
but that's not the point. First of all, I'm not talking about Real Madrid. I said Manchester United. So after Ronaldo left, I swear they only won one league title, the 2013 one, if I'm not mistaken. Two league titles after Ronaldo.
2011 and 2013.
2011 wasn't Ronaldo there?
No, he left in summer of 2009.
Yeah, 2009 was when the Galacticos. But they did get significantly weaker until today. My point is, still today, they haven't got a player like Ronaldo.
We haven't had a quality player on that right now for 14 years. It's ridiculous.
We were just talking about Anthony and Sancho like 30 minutes ago.
Mate, considering my club, the iconic nature of our right-sided midfielder or attacker, the icons we've had in such a famous position at my football club, to not have had a top-class, consistent one for 14 years. Like Valencia did well when he first came. Outside of that, everybody else has bombed. Right. It's crazy. This Kier says, will there be a link after the Man United Arsenal game? Yes, there will, Kevin. We'll definitely share that out. Brisk, brave, brigadieres, brand-dashed, broad, bright blades, blunderbusses and bludgeons, balancing them badly. We are winning the league. Come on, you Gooners. What the hell does that mean?
What was the need for the first three sentences? Why? Why? Like,
I don't know.
Was this a dare or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, David, by the way, for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace as well. In your opinion, what teams have had really good transfer windows in your view?
Good transfer windows. Shit, good question. Good transfer windows, you'd have to say City have had a good transfer window, in my opinion. I think Arsenal have had a good transfer window. Declan Rice, significant upgrade. Very unlucky with the Timber situation, but I'm not going to tax them for that. I think I don't want to say it, and I really don't want to say it, but that club in blue in London had a good transfer window as well. I think Liverpool and Man United probably had the most underwhelming transfer windows. Nottingham Forest have once again went with the same approach, which is quite surprising. They kind of signed a whole shitload of players maybe towards the end. Like they kind of just went signed players and players. But this time there's a bit more quality in there with the likes of Sangare, etc. I think Tottenham Hotspur, 50-50 iffy as per usual, but they lost Harry Kane, so it was never going to be a great window. For me, if I were to say who's probably had the best transfer window in the whole league, I would probably say Arsenal Football Club probably had the best transfer window. And in second place is Manchester City, just because I think Rice, significant upgrade in my opinion. I think Timber, they're extremely unlucky with that. Signing David Raya, who was looked at as one of the best goalkeepers in the whole league, is massive as well. So we've got to put, for me, I think the two clubs who will probably be at the top this season are the two clubs that have had the best windows, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Arsenal's is good. I think the hype's died off because they did it so early in the window, and that's what can happen when you do your business early. City's is tremendous, tremendously good. Out of all the other top 6 teams, I think Chelsea's been excellent, but they've added no experience, so there's a question mark there. Man United have added some good players, but in positions where we need to improve, we haven't added experience, for instance, up front. So there's a question mark there. Liverpool, I think Gravenberch is excellent. I like the look of Slobosly. I think McAllister's good, but you didn't buy, in my opinion, the profile of DM you needed. No new centre-backs, no cover at right back. That's going to be a problem for you. And the fact that I kind of get the whole, well, we've shown the how hand with the Caicedo bid, but if we don't find someone of equal value, why would we spend the money? It makes sense. But surely with the money that's available, there are good quality defenders out there that can come in and bolster your squad. So you've left holes there that should have been filled, in my opinion. Outside the top 6, I actually think West Ham had a really good window, considering they lost Rice. Like, Ward-Prowse has started really well. Alvarez is a good player. And who's the other midfielder they bought that they announced? Sorry, they've got Mohamed Kudus who's come in as well. I think West Ham's window. Yeah, Kudus' window. I'm just looking at it again now. West Ham's window. I just looked at it and thought to myself, you know what? Like, that is pretty damn good as well, considering that the player, it's a good start to the season. Look, they're not going to win the bloody league. They're not going to get into the Champions League.
Aston Villa had a good window as well.
Yeah, Villa's window's good. Is good. Yeah, I'm just waiting for this to load now. Who else they get? Yeah, so they got Kudus, they got Alvarez, they got Prowse. It's like Mavropanos as well. I'm intrigued to see how that one goes for them. I'm gutted they didn't get Maguire. I would have put West Ham top if they'd have signed McTominay or Maguire.
Look at you. You just said that shamelessly as well.
How shameless are you? Just for helping us. Like, it literally be like it's not the best, but thank you.
You'd have put them number 1 just because they have Man United. Can you imagine, guys?
No, I would have done 110%. I would have done, mate. But it's look, it's certainly there's a lot of teams that have done well. Villa, as you say, it's going to be intriguing to see what they're doing in the direction that they're going in. Oh wow, So it looks like there's a £200 million bid will come in for Mohamed Salah. So again, I agree with you. I think if it's like 120 guaranteed, the rest of it in unrealistic add-ons, there's no chance it gets accepted. If they offer 200 million flat cash, I do think your owners might consider it, because the thing is, as much as I agree with everything you've said about winning and needing players, but your owners are like mine. They're in this for money. And 200 million of income through selling a player is more valuable than winning the quadruple this year. It's more prize money than winning. So from owners that are interested in raising revenues, raising incomes, for them, selling Mo Salah is like winning a trophy, because it generates the income and the money that's needed off the back of it.
No, it's even worse. If they win a trophy, sometimes they've got to play players' bonuses, so it's even worse for them. So it's not just better; it's significantly better to sell a player.
Do you know what? I looked at something the other day. The Swiss Ramble put out, and because they don't do net spend either, because they understand football finance, and they look at total investment, which is transfer fees, salaries, bonuses, image rights, agent fees, essentially, that clubs make into their players. Since the 1st of June, Chelsea have invested 1.6 billion. Man City's is just under $1 billion. Man United and Arsenal are next, around sort of 750 million, respectively. Liverpool's is around 600 million since then, but maybe a little bit less than that. But I then looked at the link, and it shows since Pep's been at City, you guys have actually only spent 40 million less than City in terms of total investment into your squad. In terms of, and a big part of it for you guys is that the bonuses you pay when you win are astronomical. They can take you sometimes from being the 5th or 6th highest wage bill club to being number 1 by a country mile, because they get paid so much when they win. So you're absolutely right. You win and get 180 million in prize money and new sponsorship money. But then if you've got to pay an extra 70, 80 million out in wages, the owners are losing more money, and they don't want the cash per se, but they want the business and the income to grow and be more profitable. So it raises the overall value, because one day they'll sell it for and the more money that comes in. So yeah, that's why I say.
But we won the Champions League or the Premier League in the quadruple season, we'd have been at a net loss. Sorry, like in the profit margins, we would have been in the negative because of the bonuses. So this is the thing, like this is something significant for us. But look, here's the thing. What you're saying is real. I understand. I know my owners. I know what FSG are like. As you said, they're in it for the money. 200 million, etc. You know, they'll probably be tempted. I think Salah stays this summer. I think he's probably going to have a chance to move again and again and again. Multiple different times he's going to have chances to move. So, look, I think he'll probably end up at Saudi Arabia at some point in time. I just don't necessarily think it's this summer. And from Liverpool's perspective, after the transfer window closes, they should just reject. They should reject all bids because it's just like, okay, but where can I replace him? I think he stays, man. I think he stays.
Yeah. You don't bid 200 million unless the player. Listen, the player is interested. So this has already been, again, the media that broke the news it was coming have all said he's agreed in principle the personal terms, but what they've also said is he won't force the move. So again, Mohamed Salah definitely wants to earn £350,000 a day tax-free and earn 2.5% of the revenue generated by every Egyptian person that subscribes to the TV station that shows the games. He is going to earn probably anywhere between 500 million to 700 million pounds through this deal. That's not just wealthy. That is beyond normal wealth of footballers. And Mo Salah will give, in my opinion, most of that away in the charity work he does. Imagine what he could do for his country, the villages and the towns that need that investment. He already does a lot. Imagine what you could do with 500 million compared to 10 million. So Mo Salah will want this deal. But what they are stating, when you read the full article, is that he is not pushing for the bit. Now, if Salah was pushing to leave, and if that changes, so say in the next 2 days, they turn around, because this could help. This is what Saudi might, if they go, look, all right, we'll pay 500 grand a day. Suddenly then, Mo Salah might go, do you know what? I'm pushing now, but that will change it. But there's no sign of it right now. So reports Saudi have increased their bid to 175. Yeah, I'm seeing 175. I'm seeing 200. They're going to keep increasing it. Hassam, he left the training today because he's going to Saudi Arabia. If I'm the Liverpool owner, I take 200 million. He's left training now.
He didn't leave training today. Like, what the? Where did you guys get this from? Like, he left training today. He didn't leave training. This is just, listen, don't believe everything the ITK spread, for the love of God. Because where's Turam? Thank you very
Roma
much.
here are praying they put a sell-on clause. Yeah, can you imagine if you're a Roma and you didn't put a sell-on clause of 10% in there?
Unbelievable.
There we go. Yeah, someone made me laugh here. This guy in the bill. If you're watching the bill, I know you watch like a United fan. Someone said to me earlier, Man United's window's bad, and they said because if Martial, Rashford, and Højlund all get injured, we've got no one that's going to score goals. And I quote tweeted it and just said, "What if Haaland, Grealish, and Alvarez get injured? What if Salah, Nunez, and Jota get injured? What if Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus all get injured? What if Son, Kulu, and Richarlison all get injured?" I get his point that if all those players are out, we'll struggle to score. But that doesn't mean we should go out now and buy 3 more attackers in case those guys get injured for the whole season. And Nabil screenshotted it, says, I've just saved this picture just in case you bitch about Man United not having depth or when you say we didn't have a good transfer window. That isn't the challenge, you moron, Nabil. What I'm saying is that any team that loses their 3 main attackers is in trouble. you bell end.
Nabil is sometimes the biggest bozo I've seen my whole, like, he's either smart or just dumb. Like, there is no in the middle with Nabil. You know this Nabil, like, here's the thing. This is the same as when in Liverpool, because everyone hates Liverpool, we know this. But 2020, 2021, when we had like 4 center backs out, after people laughed, like they just sat back and went like, you know what, we understand why they're not winning the league. Like, it makes sense because there's 4 center backs out. If a club has an injury crisis where like an entire position is gone or an entire area, the whole pitch is gone, then you can't really expect, because even if you look at it from City's perspective, City probably have the strongest depth in the whole league. If the scenario that Terry just said happens, then what happens? They're probably going to play Grealish false 9, maybe Foden on the left, Doku on the right. That ain't Haaland. That ain't Alvarez.
Yeah, listen, every single. It's like, I saw someone the other day say that Arsenal's transfer window is now bad because Timber got injured. And I'm like, I don't think it works that way because Timber's got injured during the window still, so it looks bad. But City, we've all said City's window's been really good. But what if on Saturday or Sunday when they play, 2 of their new signings do their cruciate ligaments? Is it suddenly a bad transfer window? No, it's bad luck with the injury. That doesn't mean the window wasn't good, but people, they stretch so much.
That's why I didn't tax Arsenal for the Timber injury. I can't. How are they supposed to prepare for that? They can't prepare for that.
But it's look what Man United have done with Reggie. A lot of people are going, why have you guys got Reggie on? Again, people don't read. I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, and they were talking about some controversies, and Joe Rogan said it about 3 or 4 times when it comes to misconceptions the public have. And Joe Rogan said that's because they're headline readers. And that is what I think a lot of football fans have become. They're headline readers. And I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, Santi said that Man United and Liverpool were activating their interest again in Gravenberch. And he said in his article that the player at the moment prefers a move to Man United. So I did like what I always do. I shared the news in terms of both clubs are looking, This is what he currently prepares. And I quoted Santi. Santi's very credible. People were commenting on the post saying, Santi hasn't tweeted it. So what? Santi didn't tweet that. You're lying. You're making it up. Which is proof people don't read the articles. The amount of times this summer I've quoted things that Ornstein has said in the article. I've just gone to his Twitter page there. He's not tweeted that. You're lying. People don't read the articles. So back to this Reguilon situation. It's a year-long loan with a termination clause in January. The only reason Man United have done, this is not a signing I'm going to overly judge the manager on, because he's only made it because both of our left backs have just suffered long-term injuries for between 3 to 4 months.
Termination clause in January. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah. So the reason why is because if both players, both Malacia and Shaw are both back fit, unless Reguilon is killing it, we're not going to keep him. It's literally a short-term option to cover a hole. Now the mad bit is, it's been the media have kind of drummed it up with the headlines into this. Oh, they're buying a new left back. It's a replacement, or it's not very. It's like, listen, if we lost both players this weekend during the Arsenal game, they both hurt themselves in the same game, and we had no other options, and someone said, "Oh, you can take a player like that on loan," you'd say yes. Sometimes it's about the timing, and then reading and understanding why the deal was happening. The reason that we ended up not going for Cucurella, it's more Chelsea. Chelsea messed up. Chelsea played him in the Carabao Cup, and what that meant is that we're sending him back in January, no matter what. And because he played for Chelsea and then played for us, they wouldn't be able to loan him out again in January. But Man United didn't want to do a year-long loan. It's literally such a short-term option. But I see United fans kicking off about it. I'm like, but who else are you signing for 6 months? You're not going to sign a world-class left-back for 6 months. So you have to just sometimes judge these things by reading what's actually going on. And I understand there's a lot of PR and a lot of nonsense, but that's what we were saying earlier.
I didn't know about the termination clause thing. Fair enough. I've never had.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things. And look, it's like the Maatsen stuff at Chelsea. The PR is the club love him. The club want him. The club see him as a long-term future left back. But you know that's nonsense because they've accepted a £31 million bid for him. So you know that when they say those things, they're not being completely honest with you. The truth is, you read between those lines. This is a very different scenario with Reguilon because they're breaking down why they're doing it because there's a long-term injury. It can be cancelled in January as long as those players are back. Look, if he does really well, we might decide, actually, he's working out well for us. We might decide to keep him. This isn't a deal, a player that the manager all summer has gone, oh, I really want Reguilon to improve our team. It's almost got these 2 bad injuries, and let's do this. However, it's, there's an FFP question here from KJ. There's a question, Terry, with Man United having FFP problems this season, does it reset next year? And can we spend again, or are we screwed again? It should, it's every 3 years. The problem that Man United have got is FFP related. The problem that we have is that a lot of players we bought 4, 5, 6 years ago, we're selling them at a loss because we're not recouping anywhere near the money we spent on them, and we haven't won or been successful enough to bring in additional money that's helped us from sponsors. Because a lot of sponsors pay you bonuses and stuff when you win Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, and things like this. So that's all part of it. But a lot of this is debt related because, again, debts have gone up. Interest rates have gone up all around the world astronomically. That Man United don't pay interest only more. Basically, got an interest only loan against the club. Those payments have gone up. So the FFP for me is a little bit fugazi, but we are struggling with cash at the club, which is why the owners are looking to sell, because the cash is becoming very tight. They can't even take any money out of the club anymore. And if we don't get better as a football team because they're not able to spend, the valuation will start to drop. So it's a finally.
If it wasn't Fugazi, clubs like City wouldn't exist. Simple as
that. Terry, I think you've all of a sudden had a great window. I'm happy with our window. Shame Timber got injured. Looking forward to our game Sunday. Look, I think, man, I've had a good window. There's, again, did I expect us to fill all our holes this summer? No. The same as because I said, and this is where you've got to remain consistent sometimes. I said when Ten Hag come in, it would take 3 summers to completely build his squad. So I didn't expect us to sign what we have done, plus a new centre back, a new right back, and maybe one additional attacker. I didn't expect all of that in one summer because one, I knew the money wasn't there, and to spend 400-500 million, and secondly, I'm not actually a big fan of 7, 8, 9, 10 players coming in every summer. I think that's too much attrition. I think it takes too long to get people to gel. I'm not a big fan of it, and we saw that with Chelsea last year. We saw it with Nottingham Forest last year. It takes too long. I actually prefer 4 or 5 players coming in at a time and slowly being integrated. That's how I like to do it. But we've had a good window, Man United. I think once we see Amrabat play, Højlund play, that may change people's. I think the issue that we've had is we've only seen Mount play twice and he's been terrible, and only had Onana in the 3rd game. So we haven't even seen any of our new players yet. So I think it's been decent for Man United. Not spectacular, but not awful. The execution's been shit, by the way. That has been. Such a shame, the situation with
Liverpool, I think.
Liverpool, incredible team. They had to do with a refresh the squad. In my opinion, the best team I've seen after Barca during the early 2010s. They were special, and that's saying something.
I agree with you completely, Joey. And look, heading into the summer, there were many Liverpool fans, like, regardless of what you thought, everyone was willing to give the club an opportunity to just, like, fix the mess that we put ourselves into, to be honest with you. Liverpool Football Club is the reason why today I came home from prayer and immediately started a Europa League draw live video. Europa League draw. That's what I was doing on my channel on a Friday because of where we are. So we deserve to be here. But at the end of the day, look, everyone was waiting for us to fix the mess. And in my opinion, the mix hasn't been fixed yet. Because like you can't be headed into, you can't spend that much money and your starting DM is Wataru Endo, and you can't not sign a centre back. And those are things that I warned about from 3 months ago. No decision making. The decision making is horrible. Like, it's just no planning. That's the biggest problem for us.
Yeah, I think this is a fair analysis. Liverpool transfer policy to try and win the Prem. It's been a crap window to make top 4 okay. Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I mean, I think you'll make top 4. Definitely.
But why is that? Why is that a thing, though? I'm not even doing the league honor, but I'm looking at it from a different angle. This season we were absolutely crap. I became a meme online. We finished 5th. Had the rules been in play, we would have been a Champions League club. So, like, this whole finishing 4th and 5th, like, I'm sorry, who are we competing with? Like, Brighton and Newcastle and Aston Villa? Of course, we should finish above them regardless. And if we're being honest, like, the games at Anfield, you should expect to win 15, 16 of them. There's about 10 teams in this league that you should expect to beat at home. That alone is enough for you to finish 5th. As shit as Liverpool were this season, Terry, we finished 5th anyway. So why is this like some sort of thing, or it's like, oh, enough to finish?
No, I understand
we
that.
Finished 5th this season.
No, I understand that. It's an interesting one, and look, I think you've had a decent window, but again, it's just 2 or 3 areas that you really needed to address that just haven't been touched, and maybe should have been. But then you've gone and bought 4 midfielders, and that's the issue with that, is because you didn't buy them in seasons gone by when you needed them, and this is what happens when you have 2 or 3 bad years where you don't buy what you need. You can't generally fix it in one, because then you can't buy all the players in one go unless you do what City have done. Sorry, if you do what Chelsea have done, and Chelsea are only able to keep doing that this summer because they're not in Europe. If Chelsea were in Europe this year, they wouldn't have signed this many players because they wouldn't have been able to amortize it over 8-9 years. Because
Daddy, you know what I realized today? Next summer is going to be even worse. Because if Salah leaves, we need a Salah replacement. You need a DM. We need 2 centre backs and a right back. That's 5 positions off the top of my head that I know we need next summer. Just like that. That's 5 players I know we need. And that's without anything, like, I'm saying as currently constructed, what's going to happen next summer. No, Never mind injuries or players wanting to leave, etc.
Debbie here says the Barca transfer window is insane. I haven't even looked at what Barca have done this year. It's weird how noisy the Barca Twitter accounts were last year. I've barely heard anything this year, to be fair. Look, I want to thank everybody who's come and watched us today. Remember, we're live again in about an hour and a half on the Top 6 show. Lee Gunner, Staffy, Igal, Hannah, Nobbins, George, me. We'll be bringing other people in. Long show right up until deadline day. The deadline passes. So be back at 6 p.m. for that show. Sam, always a pleasure, brother, to speak to you. It genuinely is. Until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless.